What's up, guys? Chris with Croft CNC here, coming at you with another tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how I use my different software packages to develop a wooden buck for a gas tank and get the proper measurements and stuff of that nature. So this is a West Coast Choppers El Diablo 2 tank for Kid Rock. Have a friend that wants the measurements from it, also wants to get some shape out of it. So without further ado, I'm going to show you how we take this photo. We're going to measure it, and then from measuring it we're going to make a DXF file of the outer shape, and then from there we can go ahead, look at pictures, and determine the actual design of the tank. So without further ado, here we go. Let's take some paint.net. Let's import an image. We're going to import this. We're going to select We're going to go 500. We're going to select that. We're going to take a lot of this crap out. Okay. Right now I'm just using the eraser tool, coming in, taking out some of the noise, just some of the stuff that might interrupt my pattern building. Try and keep a lot of the bike just because I don't know what all I'm generally going to use and what I'm not. Actually going to use a couple different softwares for this. So right now we're using my favorite, paint.net. If you don't have it, you need to get it. It's very simple to use. A lot of tutorials out there, a lot of good information. We're just going through now. I used to have all of this information, however, unfortunately, when my basement flooded, I lost it. So okay, so there's that. We could actually go in and do a little bit more cleanup if we wanted. The longer you take on here, the better your outcome's going to be, obviously. Let's undo that one. A little too close to the down tube there. Some of you guys may or may not know, I help run a little side website Gary Weisup put together called the Chopper Builder's Handbook. So this stuff here is right up my alley. I love making it, love doing it. Alright, let's clean up some of that noise. Okay. We're going to resize this 10.67. So let's go 300, 10.67. Okay. File save. Alright. Paint.net is done. So we can delete the original file. I have it saved on my hard drive. I'm not worried about it. So now I go into a program called Tracker. And we try and find damn it. Sorry guys, I gotta open paint.net again. Alright, save as a JPEG. There we go. Let's flatten that out. Okay, delete that one. Now we're done with that. Okay. Now, what Tracker is we can actually take and track and make different measurements. So we can turn that off and on. We can do a calibration tape. And this goes for a known size, and it sets the actual measurement, rotation of the photo, alright, I have to go to my phone here and change that to metric. So I know that that backbone is 1.75 inches, so that's 44.45 millimeters. 45 millimeters. So that would be centimeters, millimeters, so it'd be 0.4. .445 meters. Okay, so now I can zoom in and out. We're gonna go up here, create tape measure, and let's see here. Let's delete that. Alright, create tape measure. What's going on here? Shore hide paths. Sketch vectors. Create new track. All right, there we go. All right. Okay. My calibration here. All right, so that's 16.47 inches. So 16.5 inches long is what that tank is. And let's see here. Yep. Yeah, that's about right. So now we can do another point. All right, let's track. New. Tape measure. Let's move that there. Move that up there. .938 approximately. Oh, that looks a little small. Okay. That looks like 9 inches. Let's add another one. Tape measure. Let's go off of here over to here. Okay. And that, my friends, is how we start getting this information. So we know that this is our calibration. And that's fixed and locked. Well, it's fixed. And we'll do that in a nice hot pink. Those are in red. We really should change those colors. We can change those to a bright green, like that, so on and so forth. So that's how we can use that information. Okay, so now we're going to go here. This is my Design Edge software. I'll import. My computer's working overtime, doing a lot of stuff in the background here. We don't want to convert it to vectors. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically just go around and create a profile. And you can do this in almost any design software. I'm actually working in lines. Even though this is a rounded tank, I'll just make shorter lines, and then as I need to get more shape out of it, I'll refine those lines. But right now I'm just trying to get the majority of the information on there. A little high there, so we'll bring it back down a little bit. Now you'll see I actually shorten my lines up. That's actually how the software does it. Let's undo that line. Undo that line. And this is where we come into a little bit of an issue when you're designing, and that's just because the photographs are a little fuzzy. I mean, realistically, it's not going to affect the grand scheme of things, because between metalwork and everything like that, you know, you're not really getting too much in the way of direct direct design. And now I'm just trying to get that curvature at the bottom by dragging my line and finding out where it lines up best for a shorter segment. And guys, remember, whenever you're doing this, this was another artist's work, so you know, take that into account. I do this just because I love doing it, you know, but in the same token, you gotta respect another man's art. So I try not to do too many things like this. I'm mainly doing it just because I enjoy West Coast Choppers history, and this is something that I haven't really done a tutorial on, so alright. Now I'm just doing the highlight line. Okay, now we start to come to a lot of geometry here. If you look, you can see reflections, and all I'm doing is actually using the reflections as my guide as to where the bend lines are. Okay. And that's kind of what you're looking at there. I'll go to bitmap. There's that. So now I can actually make a side portion design. I can come back in here and even add another line detail. Just based on the information that I have here. And go from there. So I can actually trim that, trim that, trim that. Undo the bitmap. There's my information. And that's kind of where we're at. We can get all the information for the tank from that, and we know that we're approximately 17 inches, 16 and a half inches. Okay, so now we go 0, 0, 16.5, 16.5. We make a rectangle, we scale it, we then scale from there. There you go. That, sir, is how we do it. Now we can offset this line. An 1/8 inch each way. Let's delete that. Let's go offset. Let's go offset. Okay. And that right there gives you your roll line and everything. And whenever we show the bitmap, we look at it, that looks like a pretty good representation of the side profile of the tank. With Tracker, we were able to get the length information, so we won't save that. We don't need this, and because we have the length, we can now measure this out and see about where we're at. Distance could be a little bit better, you know, and I'll have to play around with it and see what I got as far as how high up it goes and kind of that information. But I mean, you can see it's a pretty good setup, and that's one way you can actually utilize all of your different softwares to create something that you want to then replicate. Have a feeling I'm going to change this around a little. I'm going to rerun Tracker, but this is just a video just to show you guys how I utilize those parts. Now I'll get a little more in-depth when I'm off camera on my actual design. Probably use my spline tool, get a closer measurement on the tank itself and things like that. All right, so you guys have a good day, and I'll talk to you later.